going on, everybody, wherever you're at? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening on this holiday weekend if you're in America. And yeah, man, what a day it has been with these announcements. So much going through my head as far as what it means, obviously, for the new edition and obviously Necrons specifically. We already got a lot of people in the chat with some thoughts, and obviously we got the stream on with the old Richard Seeger, Liam VSL at it in action. Very cool to see. Looks like relatively close, at least right now. Volume too low. Let me increase it. 1 second here. Let's see. Is that better? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Is that better? Maybe, possibly. Is it good? I'll keep talking so you guys know. But yeah, obviously a lot of announcements today as far as, okay, it's working. We're good. Sweet. All right. So obviously a lot of announcements today as far as when it comes to the rules. Obviously we have the stream on. I wanted to kind of go through, obviously just kind of hang out with you guys for a little bit, talk about my initial thoughts based on what was confirmed today and how it relates to Necrons. So the first and foremost thing that was, maybe we can pull up here. I have we can have the stream. Do you guys want we can have the stream going a little bit, or do you want me to have like some, like I'll answer you guys in the chat. We'll have some like commentary going on the stream. Let me know. But otherwise, I can go through some of the questions so far. So, Carby, man, are Warriors good now? Well, I gotta say, man, once they announced Cleave, Warriors done for. Even with the new change with the coherency that they announced today, that was one thing. So units have to stay essentially within a 9-inch bubble, and I believe they all have to be also within like 2 inches of each other. So there's no more like, stringing an entire unit out across the table, which honestly I'm for that change. I think that's overall a good change. So I would say, guys, the Warrior era is over. We can bury the sword, we can put it to the grave. It's done for. All right. So yeah, Warriors done for. And all right, let's see here. So yeah, unit coherency 9 inches. Yeah, we called that out. Yes, so Griffin, I've definitely been looking at the Immortals. I think Immortals are super interesting now. We don't even have the rules yet for the new detachments. Which obviously we're going to be getting later this week, so that's very exciting. But the Immortals having the ability with the AP1 Canoptic Cord, obviously, full hit rerolls, full win rerolls, if you have a Plasmancer there with crit 5s. But I'm thinking more in line of like, if you attach a Chronomancer to that unit, and now if they're in a terrain feature, they're going to be hidden with Lone Op. They can fire and fade, and then potentially, if they don't change the Chronomancer's rule, that unit's going to be -2 to hit. Seems, I'm just saying, it's interesting. It is interesting. It is on my radar. Now, the tough thing is we still, with all the stuff today, they're just drip feeding us, this information. Obviously, it's still we're still, not even close to being able to really figure out what type of lists we can design, what's going to be good, because we need to see obviously what our detachments are, and the biggest thing, we need to see the deck. Okay, we need to see all the missions. I want to go over and just kind of like maybe highlight some of the missions we can get on, and highlight those a little bit and what this potentially could mean. But there's still a lot of the puzzle that we don't yet have solved, so it's kind of tough to draw any sort of conclusions yet. But let's see here. I've only been playing since October. I've never used Immortals. I just got 2 sets so I can run a group. Oh, dude, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I definitely think Immortals are going to be interesting. I think Gauss or Tesla. I've definitely been strongly looking at them now, because anything really with AP1, because we like actually, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pull up on the screen here. One thing that they put up just recently here, up on the stream, which was the benefit of cover. Now, this rule change is absolutely massive for Necrons, because the majority of our army is 3-up save, 4-up invul. So we never, of course, yes, there were situations where we benefited with cover, but a lot of times we just wouldn't. So having this benefit of -1 to hit now for units, whether that's for vehicles. Now, they highlighted in this diagram here vehicles specifically. I'm assuming it's also going to be monsters as well, but I don't know if they've confirmed that for sure. I'm trying not to spread misinformation is the biggest thing, but this also gets very interesting if this is also going to count for Catan. Pending obviously any points updates, that sort of thing. I think Catan are going to be super strong still. Going into this meta, especially looking at some of these layouts that they played today, and the fact, just these little pockets that you can hide in, I think are very interesting. So we'll just have to wait and see. But this is pretty awesome, this visual that they showed. So now confirming that, if a vehicle is partially obscured, it's going to be -1 to hit. So DDAs, the King, freaking Tesseract Volts, all this stuff, massive benefit to our durability, which is super interesting. So let me scroll down here. 18 races the new meta. I mean, it's race are still going to be good. I mean, don't get me wrong, race are still going to be good. I would definitely want to run at least a break of them for sure. But we will have to see once we get more information. But maybe let me pull up let me pull this up here. Psychomancers. Maybe we can go over together in the chat as a collective group, basically things that have gotten confirmed. So we have, oh, what is this? Maybe we can go over this. Let's see. Pause here. Attacking attached units. 7 bolt guns, select targets. It seems interesting. Let's go back, actually. Let's go to this stream here. So one thing that I did want to highlight here was the cards. So the missions here are super interesting when it comes to what they're trying to accomplish. I will say, I think it's super cool that we have dispositions, these missions. It is a very interesting take on the game. But looking at like these missions specifically, I'm like, man, this is kind of a lot to remember or what we're used to. I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad thing, but it is a lot of like on some of these certain missions, just like a lot of little things to kind of keep track of. And so maybe it won't be so bad, I guess, once if you have like a set disposition that you're locked into and you're just used to playing those 5 missions. I'm sure obviously it gets easier with repetition. But looking at these cards, you know, I'm like, dang, this is there's a lot going on here, obviously. So, and so okay, so the biggest thing with these missions: extract relic, locate and deny. Obviously, extract relic, friendly unit performs a sensor sweep this turn. I don't think they showed. I mean, this stream has been kind of iffy, like a little iffy as far as we haven't been able to see the actions on the other side as far as I know, or they didn't like pop up. Maybe I can scrub through later and see. But it's interesting because the ones where you have to do actions, obviously you are getting victory points, but at face value, compared to the other card that a lot of times doesn't have to do actions, like in the game earlier today, I think it was in the Death Guard game in round 2. I feel like it really highlighted the fact that the missions that you're not having to run out and go do stuff, which is great, like that first turn. But outside of that, if I just have to like go on and just like hold my natural expansion, make sure I kill stuff off of terrain areas, and that's it, then I feel like seems like it's a much easier game plan. But I could be wrong with that. I mean, especially now, like I'm also thinking about our ability to hold on to secondary cards. So it's like if you're already stacking a mission that has to do all these actions, and you also have all of these secondary cards in your hand that you also have to do actions, or some of them, right? You're really stressing your resources in your list, and then those units are also not doing any damage because they're doing actions, right? So I think at face value right now, it's going to be interesting to see how some of these play out. Tough to say, right? Until obviously we test it. We have a very small picture of the whole pie here, or piece of the whole pie. But those are kind of my initial thoughts. I think also when it comes to list design is like, all right, well, is it worth it to play this control style build where I'm going out, doing actions, you know, etc.? Or would it just be easier just to kill my opponent, right? So, catch up on the chat here. So Psychomancer is also buff. Someone whose warriors were never within 9 inches of each other for the entire weekend. I'm curious. Yo, Drew, what's going on, man? DDA gets to shoot out of ruins that they tow into. No longer need to be wholly within the terrain. Yeah. DDAs are about to be friggin' crazy, guys. Like, especially, okay, so let me, man, I feel like we got to pull up. Okay, let's just, like, there's just been so much going on today, okay? All right, so tow into terrain for vehicles. Crazy, right? So obviously, I mean, the Silent King, DDAs, everything else, you're telling me that we can pivot for free. That was the other thing. I heard, and please in chat, if this is not correct, correct me, but I believe pivot is free now. So DDAs and Star Shatter are +1 to hit if you're on a terrain area, as we know, unless they change it. And then +1 to hit if they're heavy. And they can tow in and shoot out. Seems good. Seems good. So that's pretty crazy. So these are all like buffs to these are all great buffs for Necron so far, right? Yeah, the fly change also bonkers, good for us. That is what I'm trying to focus on, like at least the things I want to go over is what was confirmed basically in the live stream today. So tow into terrain for vehicles, pivot is free. Vehicles Vehicles. We don't know if it's monsters as well, so I'm just gonna put vehicles right now. I'm assuming it is monsters, but I'll just put vehicles right now. Vehicles are -1 to ballistic skill they if they have cover. Very strong for Necrons, again, because our vehicles really never benefited from cover, because the majority of our profiles are 3-up saves, 4-up invuls. So you're telling me my freaking monolith can tone into objective, shoot anything that it wants, and it's -1 to hit. Seems good. Seems good to me. All right. The other thing with cover that I really liked, let's pull this up here. This was really cool. Here, let me minimize this. This, this simplifies things. So if we look at the Unit B example, I love this to save time, because in 10th edition, it was always this like weird dynamic of like, okay, how many guys are in cover? How many are not in cover? And you have to like slow roll. Now they're like, all right, if you don't have any, if your whole unit is not within the terrain area, then you just don't get cover. I love that change. We don't got to do the whole ticky tack, roll 1 dice at a time. Great change, GW. Love that. Okay. The other thing to highlight here, which is very interesting, is for Unit C, they say all of the models in Unit C are within a terrain area. So Unit C has the benefit of cover. The one thing I would want clarification on is if Unit E could fully see, like, what am I trying to say here? Because they say, basically what I'm trying to see is like, they say within the terrain area. So if we have a unit that is, let me see if I can get up my, circles here. Hopefully, I think you guys can see that, hopefully. So if I have a unit, right, that is like here and here, like their bases are just touching, like they're still within the terrain area, right? So they would technically still have cover. My question is because Unit E cannot, this unit is not fully visible, they're obviously getting cover, but I'm wondering if Unit E was right here, let me clean this up. If Unit E was right here and they could fully see this unit, would they still have cover? By this, at least what we see right here, it looks like that is the case. So you just have to be, like, as long as you're within the terrain area, you're getting the benefit of cover, even if you're fully visible. Hopefully. We'll see. So that's a pretty cool call out. So this was a great little diagram here, okay? Close this down. And we'll bring up this. Okay. Let's see. Dude, they just talked about precision changes too. Did you hear it? It's now controlling player gets to assign save so you can precision characters or special weapons out of guard, etc. Oh, interesting. Okay, so precision, you get full control of who you get to target out. That seems pretty good. That seems really good. Like, I feel like, would that be an instance of, I could be wrong, like Gaz and Makari, where you do precision and then you're like, well, actually, couldn't you do that anyway right now? And then you could just like target him specifically. That's very interesting. That's cool. Hazardous on a 2+, 1 mortal to little guys, 3 to monster vehicles. Yep, that's a good, yep. It's a very good change. Towing in also grants hidden, even if you aren't. Ooh, interesting. Dayman, I'm wondering, are you sure on that? Because I feel like they explicitly said earlier that hidden, you had to be wholly within the template to get it. I could be wrong. The other thing they confirmed that I was actually, if you guys saw on the deployment breakdown, was you can tow in and get OC on the objective. And why this is a big deal, if we go to like their live stream here. So what's interesting is in your terrain area here, right? Oh, you guys can't even see it. Hilarious. In your terrain area here, there's layouts. This doesn't showcase it as well, but like, I mean, literally what you can do is just park race, just towing in on the objective behind this wall, and then it's like, why do I even need hidden right now? I mean, there's other layouts that you can exploit this even bigger when the big L is like over here, right? And then you're just towing in like all these race, warriors, immortals, whatever you want, right? Getting on the objective, and it's better than hidden because you're behind the wall. They can't see you and they can't interact with you. Or if they want to, they can, but then they're probably going to get heroic by something, right? So they did confirm that today. That was one thing I was very curious about, if infantry had to be wholly within the terrain area to get OC. But how they were playing it today, it looks like you just need to tow in. So that was a big little change I was waiting for them to talk about. Let's see here. What else we got in the chat? And also, man, happy with the additional announcements today. So almost 40% of you not happy. Is it because we don't have a complete picture, or don't necessarily like the direction? If I remember correctly, there was a bit about putting enhancements on non-character units, and you could have 3 copies of the same one. Is it true or not as of today? Nick, good question. So that is true. So there's going to be like upgrade enhancements, and from my understanding, the enhancement is going to be labeled as such. So, and I think as they've stated, the upgrades you can take up to 3. So, for example, the new Tyranid detachment that came out with the lictors, where it gives you the ability to put an upgrade on a lictor to be able to react move. It looks like you can put that on 3 different lictors or neurolictors, whatever you want there, which is super interesting. So as far as I know, that's the case. And then they also talked about the probably in some of our leaders are going to get updated in terms of whether they're a leader or they're support. The new orc detachment showcased this with, can't remember what the guy's name was, but he had like a little support keyword in there. And so Necrons will probably adjust those. So we'll have to see what characters are going to be a support and whatnot. I would assume probably most of the Cryptex will be support, but we will see. We will see. Let's see. So you can put, for example, 1 on Awakened Dynasty enhanced on some units. Yes, yeah. But they said Gazgul and knobs were hidden by towing in. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if for sure. We'll have to see. I mean, you could be right. Yeah, we may have access to grenades. That's big. That's big. True. Big true. So we'll have to see about that. Let's see what else was. We got more as far as new missions and that sort of thing. There's more layouts, so more than 4 layouts. Oh, the center objective can split, as you're seeing in this game. Split and change in size. That's really cool. So we're seeing like in this battle here, like we have, I wonder if I can change. So we have this changing here and here. That's really cool. Splitting up, and then you just have like a smaller one in the center here, right? That's super cool. I like that. Um, let's see what else. What else we got here? So I think for the center objective can split and change in size. We have what else? What else did they announce here? Grenades is possible. We kind of knew about that. Oh, they announced like new secondaries, was huge. So I think if we scrub through here, so we knew about that. They were talking about the fights first mechanic. So the fight first mechanic, which basically, in simple terms, it's basically like a free counteroffensive, which is cool. So think of it like that. So I mean, look, I don't want to say fight first is dead, but you know, Necrosaur, I feel like that was his main strength right there. Solved a lot of problems was his fight first. So tough to say if he is worth the 185 for losing that, honestly, because he fulfilled a very specific role with that fights first. So I still think he's strong, but I'm not super high on him with that change. Forward, some of these secondaries, forward position. This is our you control your opponent's home objective and or each expansion objective. So a lot of some of these secondaries are pretty aggressive that they showed off as far as really threatening your opponent's side of the board, which Necrons with like Awakened Dynasty and some other, like outside of Hypercrypt, are not the best at doing that. That is like really not one of our strengths, especially now, because if you think about it, the problem is now, like if we look at this board here, so you have like, right, so it, you know, roughly search and destroy, right? So he has an expansion over here. And the problem is with Necrons, the units that we can send over there that are fast are really just like Praetorians, Score Packs. Like you could throw Race out there, but that's not really their synergy to go do that. So being able to get stuff out there turn one is not really the easiest for Necrons to do, but that's not really our strength anyway. I mean, we're very much wanting to play like a triangle sort of game, where we're holding our natural. We go after the center, kind of harass and kind of stay in our own little pocket with our auras and our durability, right? Now, the one thing I will say that's very interesting is this heroic intervene change, which is big, because if you guys think about it, even though it's 2 CP, like having all the armies essentially access to the Wrath of the Rock or the Cursed Legion stratagem, where it's like, hey, if you're within 6 inches, I can charge you for 2 CP, is extremely powerful, because now it prevents you from really jailing your opponent. I mean, you still can in a way, but like you can't just like move block, especially now with the 9-inch coherency. I'm thinking about like, you know, like Gargoyles was a big culprit of that, where you're like moving out and then you fire and fade them and fan out. Like you can't do that stuff anymore. You can't get within really 6 inches of a unit, because then they could just get charged. And that really opens up also fire and fade stuff, right? Because like in 10th edition, we loved the Tomb Blades to just yeet out, fire and fade on this objective, and you're good. But now, you know, if he has some sort of beefy unit just hanging behind this objective right here, 2 CP, it's like, yo, man, I'm just gonna charge you and take you out, right? So that's a very interesting dynamic. I'd say probably better for the game. I think it really does that alone, heroic intervene, just changes the play pattern of the game in such a massive way, how it works now, which I think is really cool. So let's see here. Back to the chat. Cursed Legion is going to be super fun in 11th. I could see Plasmers getting explosive keyword. Yeah, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, being able to hold on to more than 2 secondaries is freaking awesome. Oh, they did confirm today Center objective split and can change in size. You can discard secondary for a CP. Oh no. You can wait. You can cycle. Actually, I'm trying to remember. Did they, somebody in the chat, did they confirm you can discard a card for a CP, or is it only you can like discard a card at the end of your turn for a CP, or can you only cycle a card like spending a CP? Have they explicitly said anything on that? I know you can still keep the cards, but let's see. Yeah, do 6 away to avoid overrun. Funny enough, you can just grab fill and pin for white and slap it on DDAs. I'm sure it's not going to work like that. It would be funny. Scout Infiltrate are exclusive. You can either do one or the other, not both. Oh, interesting. Okay. I also heard that with Scout, you can, they were talking about something that you can like deploy them. You can like just like instead of using the Scout ability, like after you deploy, then you can deploy them down or something like that, which seemed really cool. Yes, discard for a CP, but said not likely to happen because keeping it is probably better. Yeah, I guess that's okay. So yes, you can discard for a CP. Okay, interesting. So that would definitely mean like Imhotep Stonk is up for sure. That is very interesting. Is he worth 100 points in the backfield for that? I don't know. I don't know. But that is pretty massive. I will say. Yeah, I mean, if we look at this board, I mean, look at the, I mean, if you having DDAs, right? Like towing in on this, like, I mean, this is just like a shooting gallery outside of this right here, right? But I mean, if you have DDAs towing in on these objectives, I mean, you're seeing like all of this, right? From basically your deployment zone. I mean, you're seeing all of this, right? All of this up here, this over here. And you're like, there's not really many walls. I mean, it's crazy. Crazy concept. So that's super cool. Let me scrub through. And also to the friggin' 45 of you in here, seriously appreciate hanging out. I'm just going through the live stream from today and just talking about what was confirmed and more or less what it means for Necrons, just 11th edition, what you're excited about, what you're worried about. Here's the 9-inch coherency. And it should be unblocked now. So, Warriors be gone. Warriors be gone. Let's see. Let's see. Is there anything else that they highlighted here? I'm just kind of scrubbing through. You see that. Explosives. Hey, hopefully we get some explosives. All right. That would be freaking awesome. We are here for the explosives. I tell you what. Let's see. Character. Location and deny. These are the secondaries again, or the primary missions that they showcased today. And what's this? This is the new secondary. Outflank. One or more friendly units. Oh yeah, this is an interesting one too that I saw earlier. Kind of reminds me of what was that secondary that we had? Oh, containment. Was that what it was? This kind of reminds me of containment. So one or more friendly units, excluding aircraft and battleshock units, are within 6 inches of one or more battlefield edges and not within your territory. So this is, so you just have to have one unit essentially on the other half of your opponent's board, because your territory is essentially divided like halfway down. So essentially what that means, I think in simple terms, is if we draw a line like this essentially, or no, this is on search and destroy, right? So I guess that would be, or would that be right? I don't know how that, honestly, how would that work on search and destroy? I don't know. Would it be diagonal like this? Not within your territory. I don't know. That's actually an interesting one, but I think it would be like just up here, right? Or like in this, like probably like in this pocket, you'd have to have a unit, or like down over here or something, like not on your half of the board, or maybe it's split like this. I don't know. Search and destroy. That's kind of a weird one, of where your territory is, because they don't have it on this key on the stream here of where it is. But that is a really cool, a cool secondary. We can dig it. We can dig it. Let me go back to it here. And then there was, let's see, 2 or more friendly units are within sections of opposite battlefield edges, and 1 or more of those units is not within your territory. So this one, you'd have to have 2 units on obviously opposite edges. And it sounds like one has to be basically on your opponent's side of the board, and then the other has to be on, it could be on your side of the board. So it's a little bit easier. So this one pretty easy to score. And you doesn't look like you have to do an action, which is really nice. So this is a pretty good one, where it's kind of like a positioning thing, which is kind of nice. So we can dig that. Maybe we'll go, let's see, go into, dang, it looks like frickin' Liam is running away with this thing now. I saw that crafty move that Richard did at the start with the 5 of Feel No Pain, and from the attacks from the striking scorpions, saved him, like killed the resource, massive. But I guess I mean, it's still, I don't even know what turn it is, but battle round 4, bottom of turn 4. Interesting. Maybe he has a big swing back at the end. The line doesn't go corner to corner; it goes corner to midboard opposite. Oh, okay, okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Dang. Dang, it's like, it's not even somewhat, well, maybe so, maybe you can get a big, let's see. I wish they would have on this stream too. Like, it's hard. I feel like with the missions, it's been so hard to tell, okay, who is playing what mission? Yeah, I mean, how do you guys feel about, how do you guys feel about these missions? I'm gonna put up a new poll here. Like, the do the 11th edition. Oh, this is like screwing up my 11th edition. All right, do the 11th edition missions have too much going on? I mean, when I look at these two side by side, I'm like, man, This reminds me of some burden of trust and guarding. And that only had one variable going on here. Like for me, I feel like the fact that we're going to be learning obviously a new edition, new terrain format, like a lot of the foundation of the rules are the same, just kind of cleaned up, right? I mean, it is different for sure, right? But having to learn all of that and then these missions, like I feel like there's just so much going through my head already, and then layering this on top of it, it just seems like a lot. But maybe once again we're used to some of the set missions, we'll be good. I think teams are going to be weird with how many points you can score with holding secondary cards. Yeah. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I mean, yes, I think initially, but I think as the meta evolves and as people kind of understand the pacing of the game and the ins and outs, I think it will kind of level itself out where people will know what goes into what really well, kind of like we do now. But I think the pairing process is obviously going to be like a lot different. So yeah, Mozart, gonna miss the simplicity of 10th. You know, I'm not gonna say you're wrong. I'm not gonna say you're wrong. I did like the simplicity. I am going in with the mindset that every, as excited as we are about our new detachments, we don't know what they do yet, and we're gonna be like, oh man, there's all these new combos, and like I can do this and I can do that, and it's gonna do this much more damage. Thing is like all the armies are gonna be like that. I feel like, for the most part, where I think all of the damage that we were used to an army doing is going to be even more so now, because the combos are, there's a lot more combos. So I think just in general, the damage, it seems like, is probably going to be even higher for most armies, which is going to be interesting. But again, it's really tough to talk about list design and really what's going to be good and what's not until we actually see all of these mission cards and what dispositions are attached to which detachments. Because I feel like now, going into 11th edition, and I will make a separate video on this on YouTube, once we get it. But the first part of list design, I feel like, is obviously going to be like, all right, what is the best mission pack? Or like and I think this will vary for each army, like which disposition is best. Like, one, like Tyranids might be really good at Purge the Foe disposition, and Necrons might be really good at Take and Hold, right? And so you might have just like a bunch of Necron players at a tournament, they're all doing Take and Hold because they know that's like the best mission pack. So I think your list design is definitely going to start there, and then obviously building your list around that mission set, right? So that would be stage 2. Okay. Now the tricky part comes into play of balancing out, I feel like, what is the strongest disposition for that army, or if we take Necrons for example, and then what is also our strongest detachment or detachment combination, right? So I think finding that balance where maybe Star Shatter and a 1-point detachment is our strongest combo, but the dispositions offered isn't quite as strong, right? But we still take that anyway because we know, it does the most damage, it gives us access to the best rules, etc. So, one other thing, speaking of our confirmed, is they brought up detachments. They did say some combos will have, some armies will have more than 9 stratagems. Crazy. That is crazy. They also said this would only, I think, happen if you're running like a 2-point and a like if you're mixing them. It doesn't sound like any of the 3-point detachments are gonna have 9, which is crazy. So again, more stuff to remember. This game feels like skill need just get basic game is getting high and high. It feels like 40K should be fully ported to PC. I mean, yeah, I mean it does. I mean it's tough. Like, you know, watching, there's so much depth to it, right? And watching it, I mean, it genuinely does feel like when you're watching this live stream, I mean, they're talking just like in a different language, right? Which is crazy. So it's tough. Which I don't know. I mean, the game is getting a lot more popular and everything else. So we'll have to see. I mean, I think still 40K is still on the up and up, even though it's not as I don't want to say like accessible is the right word, but I mean it is a lot to get into the hobby, especially in the competitive space, because there is so much to know about the game and the intricacy of it. I'm going to pop open the audio here because it looks like the game just finished up, and hear kind of the commentary of what they thought, and then we'll swing back here. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat.
Richard has a good chance to get up to 26 points in his turn, putting him up to 87. And then it's possible for Liam, he thinks, to get possible 16 points.
There is a little bit of style to slide into home plate if you can win the game with 0 models left on the table.
Really cool.
Kind of hard to predict, you know?
Yeah. So these guys are just running through what the opportunities are for scoring left in the game. They're absolutely going to be playing this out to its natural conclusion, though. But Liam is just doing this so he gets an idea of what his priorities are for scoring. It's a great thing to do. Of course, you never talk out a game. You always play it through to the end. But it's always good when the chips are down, you don't have many things and not many units. You want to know what the priorities are for getting points.
Yeah, so we're now seeing the movement happen. Those swooping hawks are swooping in to try and get that behind enemy lines. Also, I'd imagine they're going to try and do some damage into that ranger unit.
And I think, is it Richard's going bottom of turn, I think, right? And Liam went first.
From the Shining Spear unit on 1 wound, 2 wounds left, I think. There comes 4. Oh, no, 3. He got 1 wound left.
He copped one of Cole's whacks.
And he, on his own, could probably account for that range unit if he decided to charge it. There's only a handful of those left. Just making sure he gets as many in as possible. Also, be conscious, I guess, of Overwatch. Because if he's only got a single wound left and they're bank on having 2 units behind enemy lines, Overwatch could potentially remove one.
Lining up the laser land shot on one of the Dragoons.
Oh, dude. Overwatch, freaking huge now. That's the other thing I'm thinking about where, yeah, I mean, for melee, I mean, that's scary. You get full intel of where your opponent moves before you have to Overwatch. I mean, it's huge. Huge now.
Maybe and then a charge in.
Possibly. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if he's got more than 3 units behind enemy lines, he's not overly concerned about Overwatch anymore, right? He just needs to kind of get units. So if you can like either tie up or eliminate enemy units, it limits their scoring potential. He doesn't know what the final secondaries are going to be into the last turn. So he just wants to make it as hard as possible for Richard to score points.
So shooting the Hawks now with a -1 to hit from stealth into what I believe is the Rangers.
Yeah, they're firing to range. -1 to hit from being in cover, I think.
Yep.
Just for those range units.
Oh, 3 dead there. Not bad.
Solid.
1 left.
I would fancy the Hawks jets in combat at this point. I'd charge in and just try and...
Well,
that's the perfect amount to be left there.
Yeah, the bike probably does it easily.
Really wants to go
there for Aspect Host. 1 save AP everything. And saved it. Shuriken cannons now. Rerolling 1s to hit from Aspect Host, like I said. 1 wound. They fight again.
Just keep on surviving.
It doesn't really matter. He's going to get it with the charge. The entire Falcon's shooting into the Ranger. Yeah. So shooting everything.
It's the Falcon going, I believe, at the Dragoon up there.
Yes, I believe. His Bright Lance doesn't hit. Just charging now. The two Hawks in. Apologies. If you got Azaman has pistol. So shooting Azaman into combat now with the
nice ones.
Ballistari.
Dude, can we agree that I love the new terrain and the layout. Like, I'm so excited for 11th edition battle reports because it's just gonna look so much better. Like I really do love not having the circles anymore, I gotta say. And I also love these terrain footprints splitting up. I think is really cool. I was kind of wondering about that. So cool to change up the layout. So I think that's great.
That might be enough to secure the game, right?
Might be. Yeah,
really,
that's what he was running through. Sorry, mate.
That's a really, really solid play from the Eldar. They're in a strong place. They are almost out of models, right? They are down to absolute fumes, but they have got that back objective. They have pushed forward. They have scored big, and Richard is going to have a very hard time on his hands to get back into the game on that last turn. Not impossible, but difficult.
He does have the benefit of
he just spent a command point to put the for the infiltrators to go off the table. Sorry, I don't think it is their it's their a data sheet ability.
Yeah.
To take them off the table. So the infiltrators have just bounced off. I'm going to double check I'm correct there, but that is my instinct.
Could well be right.
And they're going to go steal the home, I believe.
It's traded.
Liam scored 16 points this turn, he stated. I know, they do not bounce off the table, so he did that with the command point from Skatari.
I think is it their move after they shoot is their data sheet ability? Is it?
No, it must be the other unit, Traxi.
Okay.
Yeah. If the fight phase is the forcing the battle shock text at -1. Fighting combat with Azaman, just on the off chance he pulls down one of the Ballistari.
2 damage apiece, you never know.
3 apiece, mate, yeah.
Still a few Dire Avengers there.
One dead, doesn't explode.
And they're not; these aren't the fighting versions of those, are they? They're not going to do much damage back. They're certainly not going to kill a Phoenix Lord. They might be able to kick a Dire Avenger.
Yeah, it might be able to kick a Dire Avenger. And then when they shoot with the autocannons into combat, they most definitely can bring them down.
Yeah.
Bottom of turn 5. Let's get that scores up. Let's see what the distance is. 89 looks like the score.
Very close game,
oh my god, this could not be closer.
I was looking at the Eldar were out of it, but Liam has done a phenomenal job of pulling this back. He's used all his pieces excellently.
We'll get that scoreboard up and those secondaries. So he needs to get Beacon done outside his territory, which is what the Sakarans are going to be doing. Assassination is killing Azaman. And then Cleanse for 2 would be another 5. So he can rack up 15 right here on that. And then if he holds the central objective, it's the final beacon. That's another 9.
Yeah, this is crazy, man. I think, the other thing that's, I guess you can max score because I already said like 15, but just being able to hold cards. You can see like Siegler discarded, it looks like first turn to get a CP, kept all the rest of them. So I think just in general, we should be seeing a lot higher secondary card or scores, hopefully, just because you can hold cards. And then as you can see here, like Siegler set up for the end to easily potentially score. I don't know exactly what beacon means. Maybe they'll show that, but getting a 15 there, so that would put him at what? Math is hard. 38? 38 or 45, which is great. And then see what he can score on secondary.
So that's 24 right there.
Azerman being alive right now is huge because it means he has to go and kill him, but he was already dead. This would have been basically just points in the bank.
Yeah. He needs to kill a unit on an objective for primary points as well. He needs to hold his home. So hold the middle, sorry. Kill a unit on an objective, which should be relatively easy. There's quite a few small MISC units. And then he needs to do an action and hold where the last beacon is.
No problem. Just
doing 2 cleanses and a beacon. So he's got 4 actions to do this turn. I think he needs to cycle a card.
He does have a few units left.
I think he needs to cycle a card away. I don't think
he's just looking at the battlefield and basically counting his units. And he's like, I need one thing to kill something, one thing to do this, one thing to do this, one thing to do this.
Yeah, people in chat are saying, I think Liam's got this. Someone projected this out to be an 89, 84.
You're going to cycle cards.
Command point being used for his once per game auto passed on the single Dragoon. He's going to take 5 there. I don't think he's going to bother activating here. He just needs to see, I believe, if he gets assassination.
The only one
that's the only thing that's got a term and condition. Everything else can just be done by actioning. He needs to kill a unit on an objective.
Yeah, that 1 wound Shining Spear Exarch over there.
Yeah,
pretty juicy right now.
Yep. So this will be the Dune Rider trying to go for the 1 wound.
That's like 18 shots.
Yeah,
just 1 wound, guys. Just 1 wound.
A bunch of twin links.
Toughness 4, 3 up save.
Yeah, so here comes the Dune Rider. I have no idea how these points are going to rack out, but all I know is that we're somehow, 2 of the best players in the world, the first showcase of 11th edition day, have one of the tightest games that I've seen in a long time. And I don't know enough to tell you who has won this game. And that makes it real good. And that is rare for me, ladies and gentlemen.
Both players have played very, very solid games of Warhammer 40,000. I think Richard has done a very good job of kind of winning the fight across the battlefield in a bunch of places. And I think Liam has done a phenomenal job of keeping in the game despite some setbacks on his dice rolls, some very kind of poor opening rolls. We almost counted him out, but actually he's done a phenomenal job at keeping those Eldar units scoring points every single turn.
So he's realizing that one of his models is tethered, touching the middle objective. He does not have a choice in that matter. And while he has a lot more points left on the table, I think there's only 5 models left. 5 units left for Richard. He has the Techno-Archaeologist at the top of the board. And then he has the Infiltrators, a unit. He has the Dune Rider. And then, he just has some missing bits and pieces. In fact,
that's all they both have. Bits and pieces.
So missing from the minimap there is the Techno-Archaeologist up here. So it should be up on the minimap
right
about this location. I'll just put a dot there for you.
It's going to come, just kind of put as many points onto the battlefield as possible. Just looking at all
realized he holds it now that he has gone into this bottom quadrant to cleanse that objective. He doesn't need the Dragoon to stay up here. He actually use the Dragoon to advance and charge and try and actually contribute to the fight.
Where is he getting the other cleanse from?
Hugest charge you ever did see, but he's going to go for it. And that's why the Azimuth did the reactive move when the Ballistari fell back, because of course they're still going to shoot. So he used one of his aspect stroke time. Sorry. He's one of his agile maneuver tokens, the battle focus tokens, to bail out and get further away. So still paying out.
I think we're now seeing the shots into that Exarch. Is the Exarch going to go down? This is just like a big old smattering of small arms fire, basically. They're trying to do 2 wounds into him. 3 up save, toughness 4 on this guy.
And so this was shooting into the Dire Avengers.
Oh, okay.
Can't kill him now. He's now going to use another battle focus token to move Azimuth off the terrain feature and out of line of sight around. He needed to 1-shot kill there. And that's all she wrote. We just saw the handshake. They're going to be dialing this up and getting the final score in for you guys. So when he fell back from Azimuth, he bailed down here. And then when he shot Azimuth with the Dune Rider, he was able to move the remaining Phoenix Lord off the terrain feature and around the corner, meaning he's out of possible charge and out of line of sight of the Ballistari. That is Eldar trickery at its finest. Did it steal the game?
Huge.
Oh my God. 86,
89, the final score. Dude. Incredibly close.
What a game. Wow. Can you believe it? I mean,
it was assassination. Denying those 5 points.
So that would have been, if he had died, it would have been a victory.
Wow.
That is super close.
Azimuth stealing it with Eldar trickery.
Game on both sides. We got to see some expert level generalship with a rematch of the world finalists. Like, absolutely awesome.
Yeah, brilliant. So that's a phenomenal game of Warhammer 40,000. You guys are, thank you so much for tuning in. That has been 3 incredible games of 40k. This has been our live coverage of the first live games of Warhammer 40,000. Kind of closing thoughts, guys, as after a grueling day of battle. Any highlights for you?
That was so exciting on so many levels, and we saw so many things that I didn't even know. I learned so much.
Yo, Burger Wash, what's up? Thanks, man. Appreciate the super chat, dude. So the strength secondaries are going up. Do you think that characters and units like Imatech the Stormlord will get better, since holding guard for score might be better than CP? I think so. I think it does. I think there's definitely value there for sure. I will say though, as of right now, he has 100 points. That could be going up, right? So we will have to wait and see. I don't want to say like I'm indifferent about it right now, but the thing is like, yes, it could help because you're obviously wanting to keep as many cards as you can. And then it does give you, it does at least give you the flexibility. If there is a like, let's say there's certain cards that no matter what, you're not going to want to score. Perfect example, like Plunder, right? I think any of the ones where we have to like go out, I think it's like the same as Tempting Target is right now, where, you know, your opponent always nominates. They, let me pull it up here. Let me see. Where's my thing? So I think where Imhotep really gets the value is, and again, we don't have the whole deck, right? But the thing is that there are certain cards for Necrons that are just inherently tough for us to score because we don't really have a lot of speed. And the things that do have a lot of speed are very fragile. That being Tomb Blades, that being Scorpex, that being Praetorians. Really, the only thing that's not like that's durable and quick are Race, Catan, that sort of thing. But you're not really doing that turn 1, turn 2. So Plunder might be one of those ones that you might just want to cycle off the bat just to get another card that for sure you can score in your hand. So I think there will be some value there, but I think it also is going to there's so many more intricacies when it comes to list design. I think that's where we're getting, like, honestly, I feel like hit the hardest and change is the list design is going to be so much different and so much more depth to it. Like, I feel like I could like sit on my couch for an hour or two and just like thinking about like one type of list, right? And just thinking stuff out loud. So that's going to be very exciting. But hopefully that answers your question. I think Imhotep value for sure is up, but we'll have to wait and see. But Burger Washer, appreciate your support, man. Appreciate it. So let's see. So it's basically very hard to deny some secondaries. If your opponent gets assassinated at some point, they will score if they draw it early. Exactly. Yeah. So you can just right now, as we know it, you can just hold on to those secondaries and just score them later. Now, the one thing is that you do have to start scoring them at some point because you're capped at 15 a turn, right? So you know, you can't just bank them all at the end and then just score them. But it does prevent like a lot of feels bads where, you know, if all of a sudden you're drawing overwhelming force and freaking no prisoners or bring it down turn 1, you're like, great. But now you can hold on to them, draw another 2 cards the next turn, and have a really big secondary turn. So it really helps with the first turn, second turn delta, which is very good. Burger Watch, but then you can afford to redraw the card if it's bad with the extra CP. Yes, I think I'm following you, but then you can afford to redraw the card if it's bad with the extra CP. Yeah, I mean it's kind of a dance with the thing is that it's like if you don't run Imhotep, it's like as normal right now, but it's like this weird dynamic of, do I want to hold on to this card and not get a CP if I need it, like going into turn 2, right? Or do I discard it, but it's like, oh, later in the game, I'm probably going to be able to score this card, but I'll just get a CP for it now, right? So I think it's a very good dance that they played, which I think is really, it's really cool. It's very interesting. There's a lot of decision points on it, and there's not like a right or wrong way necessarily to go about it. So let me pull to the stream. Did they just I was hoping they would. Did they not do a
all those 6 guests giving us enormous amounts of time flying out here to go into the 11th edition dungeon in the back here and learn their crafts that we can showcase incredible games for you guys.
And of course, y'all hanging out with us, and I think that's going to wrap us up for the day. I think
that we're done.
That is it. Well, thank you ever so much for joining us, guys. That has been our live coverage of the new edition of Warhammer 40,000. We hope that you love the new edition. You have one last final thing.
Tune into Birmingham next week. You guys are getting absolutely spoiled. We have another streamed event
Again? Have you not
next week.
Good stuff. Good friggin' stuff. Well, let me pop over. Let me see here. I will bring. What is this circle thing? Oh, box. Let's see. Let me bring this back up here. Okay, so we have this confirmed so far. What else? Okay, we got the stream over. So now we got everybody's undivided attention. All right, let's buzz this out. So we learn towing a terrain for vehicles, huge, 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 so big. Pivot free, huge also. Give me pivoting for free DDAs that still move 16 inches in Star Shatter, crazy. Oh yeah, 9-inch coherency on units. 9-inch coherency. Spelling is hard. I think that's right. Vehicles are -1 ballistic skill if they have cover. That's awesome. I don't know if that's confirmed yet with monsters. I'm assuming it is, which is huge for Catan. Tow in, get OC on the objectives. So like for infantry, that was a big question. There's more than 4 layouts, like terrain layouts. And, it's kind of interesting. If we... the 9-inch coherency feels bad. Feels like the skill ceiling just collapsed. Thunder... Oh, man. Okay, can I politely disagree? I think, if anything, the skill ceiling has not collapsed. Why? Let me clarify. Why do you think the skill ceiling has collapsed because of that? Let me bring this back up. So if we go to what's interesting about these layouts, if we look up in the here, let me bring up this. Well, I guess we can just see it here. What's interesting about these layouts now is like even this one now seeing it, like the 2 that they showcased early, it seemed like big scary to try to screen your backfield. But at least in the layouts, I think 2 of the 3 that they showed today, this seems like a lot more manageable to screen like these pockets back here than some of the other ones. Like there's not these like deep gaping holes, which is nice, which is nice to see. Which I like. Okay, I'm gonna turn this back off here and then pull up our what was confirmed. And what else do we got that was confirmed? Those are more 9s. I feel like I'm like missing. I mean, obviously there was some more secondaries. We don't have like the whole deck, but it seems pretty much the same. Like there's still area denial, there's still secure. Here, let's see. I think here, let's go back and see. Let me pull this back up again. Like looking at the whole scorecard here. So cleanse is still the same. Assassination. I don't know if they showed off beacon yet. Probably intentionally. Defense, secure, gauge, center ground, plunder. So no stringing out units. Confirmed-ish 3DP detachments. Yeah. I think. I mean, I would be very surprised if Awaken was not 3CP. If Awakened is not 3CP, oh boy. I tell you what, it's got to be, guys. It's got to be three detachment points. But okay, so Thunderbeard, Beard, no string out units. Yes, that is very true. But the thing is like, okay, if we look at this layout, right? Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna turn this off. I want to go to another board because we've been looking at this one for long enough. So I'm just gonna go to a different board. Let's go to let's just go to round 1 here. Hold on, it's loading. It's loading.
Units that can join other units.
Yep.
There are leader units.
Hold on. Okay. All right, let's go to round 1 here. Okay. So we have a hammer and anvil deployment. Okay. Now, here's the thing that I was talking about. Yes, stringing out units is great, but it's like, do you really need to, as we know it, right? Where now Necrons become very interesting with race because we know that we can toe in to the footprints. So, like, what's preventing me from freaking putting like 4 race back here and telling my opponent, yeah, man, there's 8 OC here. What do you want to do about it? And they're like, oh, like you're used to running into, okay, classic example. You got like guard and a Taurox, right? And they're like, yeah, man, I'm gonna yeet up this Taurox, dump the guys out, and I'm gonna deny your point. I'm like, well, I don't know, man, because now I can heroic. Granted, it's 2 CP, but these templates are conveniently the perfect length to where if they want to get on this footprint, I'm going to be able to heroic intervene. So no longer do Necrons necessarily have to worry about people just dumping OC on objectives. Like, that's not really, like, yes, it's still a strategy you can use in some cases, right? Because it is a 2 CP thing to do, but it's going to be a lot more difficult to do that. The other thing is they're like, all right, well, I'm going to go try to interact with the race, but really nobody wants to do that because they're so durable and annoying. Or you could set them up and then you have just like a Catan, right? Or something else right here as your heroic intervene threat. Very, very strong play turn 1, right? You look at the area here. Now the biggest thing that's interesting about this layout versus the other ones is the fact that if we look at, let's do this, okay? So if we look at, I'm going to make this yellow here. I'm just going to make this blue. So we have here and here, okay? Now our yellow staging points is here. This is a nice like pocket, right? This is a nice pocket here, okay? And then obviously here, you could stage up here because there's like a nice wall. And when we're saying staging points, this means like basically, yes, your opponent could still shoot you, but they really have to earn it, right? Like they really have to commit a resource to go get this stuff, right? Now, this is not taking into account the mission, any of that right now. Like just looking at the layout and talking about just what Necrons could potentially start doing and what this means from what we learned today, right? So looking at this, this is another strong pocket right here, right? Like this pocket is freaking money for Catan. Like if we make this red here, like you put a Nightbringer here, a Void Dragon, right? On any of these staging points, this is scary, right? Because now you have a Nightbringer that can move 10 inches and then realistically threaten anything over here. And then vice versa on the other side makes it very interesting. The fact that Catan can just like toe in and potentially just get -1 to hit now because they'll have cover and be partially blocked or not fully visible is very interesting. We'll have to see if it's for monsters as well. We don't know yet, but they did say it for vehicles. And the other fact is that this is the first time we've had a staging area for most layouts, not all, that has a wall in the center of the battlefield, where now this can kind of exploit the fact that you could have Xeris or something like that behind this wall here, right? Turn 1, and he's relatively safe. Versus before, on most boards we played on GW in 10th, that's not the case, right? You're going to have to, like, originally he would be here, and then, you know, a unit moves out. You're like, oh, he's low up, and okay, now I can shoot him. But now it's like, oh, I gotta yeet something like way over here, or I have to cut like way over here just to be able to see him, right? So this gets a lot more interesting, or is on my radar. I think Xeris is still going to be extremely good at 11th edition, and see him in a lot of lists based on what I've seen like so far. And again, just the fact that we can toe into these objectives. I mean, just putting like even scarabs are super interesting, where, you know, if you have them next to Xeris or a Cryptek, and then you're still running like the command barge, and you just stack like 40 points of 6OC right here, right? And then swarms that can also just go through walls now and go do something, I think is extremely great. So like scarabs are already good. I think scarabs are going to see even more play now in 11th edition, especially. So I think that's great. So, oh, dude, that'd be awesome if they get it Wednesday, man. We'll have to see. I mean, they're literally one of the last ones, so it's gonna be sometime this week. It's gonna be sometime this week, and we'll be ready. We'll be live watching it at the same time, hopefully. So, oh, the other thing was, oh, here's the other thing. Changing. You know, let's pull it up here. Fast rolling. Changing. Okay. Don't quote me on this, but this is how I understand it right now. Okay. And I'm probably gonna screw this up. Okay. But I'm gonna try to take like a very simple approach here. Okay. So we have a 10 warriors, 10 Necron warriors with an overlord attached. Okay. 2-up save, 4-up invul, and then the warriors are a 4-up save. Okay. Our opponent hands us 20 armor saves from who knows what. Doesn't matter. There's 20 armor saves that are AP1. Okay. Now, originally, what we would have to do is obviously slow roll those, because the 10, we would have to, because there's only 10 guys essentially in the bodyguard unit. So I would roll those 10 dice first to see how many died, and then proceed. So I like, all right, I only made 8, they're AP1, so I'm saving on 5-ups. I failed like 8 of them. Okay, I need to roll 2 more, right? We all know about that. So what essentially the change is now, because they really did not explain it very clearly on the stream. And this is as far as how I understand it, is you roll all of the 20 dice. You have to declare who is taking those wounds. So same as normal, where it has to go on the bodyguard unit first, but you roll all the dice. And the change is that you can allocate, you can take whatever, so it's AP1. So the warriors are going to save on 5-ups. The overlord that's attached to the unit saves on a 3-up. So what I can intentionally do is take all the bad rolls out that would kill the bodyguard unit, but not the overlord. So essentially I can take out all the 2s and 1s, but because there's overlap on the armor saves on the 3 and 4, if you're following me, I don't need to take those out, because the overlord can save those wounds. So I would take out all the 2s and 1s first, and then if there's enough left over, then I can put all the 3-ups on the overlord. If that makes sense. It's kind of very complicated to explain unless I have like more of a visual, but that is a pretty big change. But it does also make things go a little bit faster, where we no longer have to be like, oh, okay, I got to roll these first. It's like, no, just allocate it, roll it, and then pull it out. So that'll take a little getting adjusting or used to, but that was the other thing that they kind of like showcased today that I thought was pretty interesting. But anyways, yo, the 50 of you that are in here, seriously, appreciate you hanging out. If there is any other questions you guys got, drop them in the chat. Probably be here for another like 5 or 10 more minutes. Just kind of want to hang out towards the end of the the live stream and the game, and just let me know your thoughts. Is that per weapon or per activation? I don't know. I don't want to say, because obviously we don't have the rule book in front of me, but as far as I understand, that's roughly how it works right now. So until I actually have like the core rules that could read it line by line, I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't think they also showcase indirect at all today. I was really hoping we would get like some sort of confirmation on, okay, if a unit spots, like what are they hitting on? Are they hitting on 4s? You know, what does that exactly look like? But yeah, I mean, the other thing, I mean, if I minimize this, you know, if we just talk about really quick, like DDAs, right? So if I have a DDA parked here, right? DDA parked here, right? Maybe like a DDA over here, right? Now, essentially with the new rules, I mean, I can just tow in, and now I can just see like all down here through that wall. I wouldn't be able to see these copters, but if they're towing in any way, right? And then you're also getting -1 to hit and heavy, because they only move like 3. If they only move like 3 inches, you're not going to get your devs because they have to remain stationary. But I mean, that is crazy. And then like this one being able just to like shoot all the way down this way or this way. I mean, actually super, super good, especially with Star Shatter and being able to still have the flexibility to pivot and then just like launch a DDA in here if you needed to and just fire. Crazy. Do you think the new towering and terrain are going to be less effective? It seems that fast attack armies are going to be at an advantage and will force more close combat knights. Potentially. Tough to say. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, there's just like, I think the problem is the one thing that a lot of things hinge on is the missions. And I think that's why they're intentionally, I mean, they're holding back a lot of things, let's be honest. But, you know, we need to see the missions. Is the biggest thing. We need the full picture. And we only have, I would say, probably like 40 to 50% of the pie right now, you know? So I will say that on some of the layouts, it's kind of scary because not on this layout in particular, but the ones that they showcase early, there's not really many safe staging points. This one it's a little bit better, but outside of that, like being able, like this one's a little bit better in terms of the staging because you actually have like a launching point into somebody's natural. But the two ones that they showcased a couple weeks ago were pretty scary when it came to like melee armies, because you look at the board and you're like, oh, okay, this like looks like pretty dense. But when you really break it down, there's really not a lot of places to stage for melee armies. And if they're trying to launch from their deployment zone, they're not going to really make it because it's too long. Like even with an advance and charge, like they would still have to average like for most units, like an 8, 9, 10-inch charge. Not very reliable for most armies. So that part was interesting. This board, obviously different, right? You have really good launching points from over here, potentially behind this wall here, which is nice. So it was good that they showcased, I think, some boards today that I think were a lot more interesting than the first two that they showcased, which I think like, okay, this looks a little bit more, little more balanced here. But anyways, any last minute questions before we sign off? I will obviously be live later this week when they drop the Necron rules. I will be hopefully on at the same time that they're dropping the rules, so we can just go through it live together. I think that would be super fun. Give you my like initial thoughts, maybe some list ideas, that sort of thing. Very excited about that. I'm sure as you guys all are as well. But if there are no other questions, let me know. Freaking pumped, freaking excited. So I don't think there's anything else in this layout. I think that was it. I think other than that, are there any other secondaries that they showcased. No prisoners. So overwhelming force is still in. Behind enemy lines. Yeah, so it seems like to me, burden of trust. It seemed, oh, tempting target still won too. Wow. So there's tempting target and plunder. So it seems like to me, potentially the secondary deck got a little bit bigger. Like maybe we have like 20 missions or 20 secondaries that we can pull from. But it seems like in general, it's going to be much easier to at least get better on secondary scores. But as always, you really got to focus on the primary. The primary is always what is going to really help you win games, obviously. That's like where you got to make the delta from. Secondaries, it's always like, okay, what do I draw, right? Of course, there's going to be less feels bads now. But the primary is the one thing that you can control in this game. So very cool. But anyways, to the people that hung out, seriously appreciate you and your support. And honestly, I am just excited for 11th edition as you all are. And I know we will go live later this week when they drop the new 1-point detachments. And I'm sure we will do an Only Crons episode afterwards, hanging out with the boys and talking out what we're thinking. But other than that, wherever you are in the world, have a good night, a good morning, a good afternoon, and we will catch you later this week. Peace, y'all.